the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So, Mr. Buddhahas, in reading all the information that you filed here, I thought I looked at that. Yes. And both of you should know I'm looking back and forth here because I've got two screens. My file is electronic. So I'm looking over here as you're talking to me. I'm listening, but I'm looking at also what's been filed. So just so you know why I'm doing that. Let me get that. So, Mr. Buddhahas, I understand from what you filed more recently that so you say you take full responsibility for your actions. What are you? I'm trying to understand. Are you objecting the court issuing this order?
Yes.
Okay.
I would like it to be dropped, but I take responsibility that led up to the
reason for it being filed?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So let me turn to you first, Ms. Klein. And I've had an opportunity to look at everything that everyone's filed. Looking back at, see if I got any questions here. So, Amber Klein, anything you want to say about all this or what Mr. Buddhahas filed?
I definitely want to proceed forward for sure with it. The declaration, of course, is defamatory and libel.
Which declaration? Which declaration?
The 6-page declaration he wrote.
Mr. Buddhahas's.
Yes.
Okay.
That.
So tell me what you have to say about that.
The inappropriateness of claiming inappropriate things my kids have done, which have not done or acted on.
So this is about your allegations in your petition and his response to them, and it sounds like
has nothing to pertain to this case.
Pardon?
Has nothing to pertain to this case.
Okay. Now, these are not biologically, any of these kids are not biologically Mr. Buddhahas's, right? That's what I understand.
No, okay. No, absolutely not.
Not by no relationship through marriage.
Nope.
Nope.
Never dated.
And there hasn't been any court placing or giving guardianship or custody or anything to Mr. Buddhahas. Okay.
No.
All right. So these are all, and these are all the 5 children that you name here are yours?
Those are mine.
Biologically, by marriage?
Biologically.
How? Okay. So you're responsible for them. All right. And there aren't any other superior court orders or anything concerning these children and Mr. Buddhahas?
No.
Okay. All right. And so your allegations here is that, you know, let me get to what you're saying. So over what period of time, when did you first think that you clearly told Mr. Buddhahas he wasn't to have contact with any of these 5 kids? I mean, there's that February 21st event where you alleged that pushed in the door to gain access. Cops were called. He was trespassed on 2/21/25.
Yeah, but I stated in my evidence, I think it was in January of 2024, of do not contact me anymore.
And how did you communicate that to Mr. Buddhahas?
Via text.
And was there any response to that from Mr. Buddhahas?
I know there's just multiple responses after that. They just kept coming in and in, and I eventually just stopped. I didn't engage.
So when you say that on February 21st, when, quote, the cops were called and he was trespassed, what does that mean he was trespassed? What happened?
He showed up at our house and refused to leave, so we called the cops.
And what happened?
They trespassed him with a trespass slip, and he had to be removed from the property.
Okay, so there was a document that said he wasn't allowed to come back to the property.
Which I also filed in with the evidence as a yellow piece of paper saying he was trespassed for the next year.
All right. And then thereafter, was there any time that you allowed Mr. Buddhahas access to your children or access to the property after that?
No, nope.
Okay, no messages saying it's okay for this one
Nope.
time? No.
Nope.
All right, so it was an absolute at that point.
Oh, yes.
All right, and so how did you find out that he was messaging or contacting your children in certain ways?
And they showed me.
Your children showed you?
Yep.
Okay, and so what did you see?
That he had messaged Natalie Cisna, my daughter, on Roblox through a gaming app.
Okay, that's a gaming app. All right, that was on April 1st, you said. And then did you receive any contact?
He was contacting me on and off through Instagram.
All right, and what did you do when you received those Instagram messages?
I didn't respond.
Okay. And then contact with Cassandra?
Yes, he contacted her originally. That's why we cut off our relationship, was he contacted our teenager and engaged in inappropriate language with her.
Okay. All right. And in talking with Cassandra, did she, now she's a minor and
Yep.
But did she initiate any other contact after that that you're aware of?
No. Nope,
Okay.
we immediately blocked the number.
All right, and were you aware of Natalie contacting Mr. Buddhahas in violation of your order to them?
You mean after she hadn't contacted him after the order?
After he was trespassed, after you told your children not to contact him? Do you know if Natalie or Cassandra or any of the kids contacted Mr. Buddhahas?
Not as far as I'm aware. I just know that Natalie had said something back after she had sent me that original screenshot.
Okay.
On Roblox, but hadn't contacted him since.
And Natalie at the time was 13, 12, 13?
Yeah, 13.
Okay, and Cassandra's still 16?
Yes.
Okay, and everyone else is younger, so between 9 and 16 years old still?
Yes.
And when this is going on, all right. Okay, and what are you asking the court to do here?
Just absolutely no contact, harassment, stalking.
All right, with you and your 5 kids?
Yeah.
And so looking at the temporary order, is that what you're looking to continue with?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Anything else before I turn to Mr. Buddhahas?
And then I am requesting to seal our case because of the declaration. He names minors that they do not consent to this libel and defamatory statements that he has made against them.
Anything else?
Nope.
All right. So, Mr. Buddhahas, then I've read, and obviously Amber Klein's read what you've filed with the court. What would you like to say about this order, whether it should issue or not?
I would like the case to be dropped, Your Honor. When I initially made contact with Cassandra Pixley, it was trying to let her know, no, that is not okay. And it was an awkward situation for me, Your Honor, because I didn't want to lose my friends at that time, and I didn't really know how to approach that. I realize I should have brought it up the next morning.
And
Your
so we're
Honor.
referring back to when? And can I have the
When I
packet, please?
initially made contact with Cassandra back in
Is that August?
2023, when they initially cut me off.
Okay, so tell me, kind of step back here and help me understand. So you've known Amber Klein how long?
I would say 7 years, Your Honor.
Okay, and then, so you've known the kids then for that same amount of time?
Correct.
All right, and then were you at any time, I don't know, what was the relationship? Were you living in the house?
No, I was a friend that came over. They asked me to watch the house and the kiddos when the Wyatt Pixley was up at the hospital for a heart and kidney transplant.
So they asked you to watch their kids in the house when they were
Correct.
busy with some medical
And
emergencies. Okay,
mhm.
and that was, all right, and so throughout those 7 years, is that,
I made a connection with the kiddos, Your Honor. I was considered an adopted uncle or
okay. So you were never given any parental authority over them by a court? You weren't given a guardianship, they weren't placed with you, okay. And so it was truly, it was just simply through the parent that gave you
Mhm.
allowance to have any relationships with their
Yes.
minor kids? Okay, all right, so going back then to the petition here, can you tell me a little bit about that February 21st event that's alleged that you came over and the allegation is that you forced your way in?
With the allegations on February 21st, Your Honor, I was recently fired from my position through City of Lacey because Byron and we were both working at City of Lacey.
So
at the
Byron
time.
is,
Byron Scortsman. I believe that is Amber Klein's boyfriend, lover.
okay, so someone who lives in the house, an adult who lives in the house in a relationship, all right?
And I tried explaining to him this situation through text of the Cassandra Pixley, the incident that happened when they initially cut me off. But on February 21st, I just wanted to get closure, who was startled me awake, which led me to my termination of my City of Lacey position, and just ask him who it was, why, and I still cared about the kiddos.
So what did you do? You came to the house?
I came to the
And then-
house, I knocked on the door and asked if Byron was there,
Okay,
and
who answered the door?
Megan Scortsman,
Okay, another adult in the household,
yes,
all right,
which
and then,
she said no, I had to leave.
okay,
So I put my foot by the door as she was trying to shut it, which I realized that was bad.
mhm.
And at that point, I just wanted closure, who
Well, so you
startled
put
me
your
away,
door, you put your foot to prevent the
Yes.
door from closing.
which
So I'm being told the cops are called. So how long did this go on before you talked to police?
it was a split second when I put my foot on the door, and I just sat on their porch playing word search and Yahtzee, waiting for someone to answer.
Answer the door? Did you
Yes.
know that the police were on the way?
I did not.
Okay,
Amber did inform me to leave the property and she would call the cops.
okay. And so you stayed on the porch because you really wanted to talk to Byron,
Yes,
even after Amber said you gotta leave.
yes,
Okay,
Your Honor.
and you realize putting your foot in to stop the door from closing is wrong.
Correct.
Okay, And then, so you meet with the law enforcement, this is, you agree around February 21st?
Correct, Your Honor.
And what happened there? What did
I informed them I was trying to chat with the old friend that recently got me terminated from my position. And I believe one of the police officers that answered was part of the community response unit that I was working with during my position. And I just informed the officers that I got terminated from my position. And I was trying to get closure on the situation that happened to our friendship falling out.
Yeah.
And they filed the no trespassing notice for up to 1 year and gave me a copy, and I left.
Okay, and so in your position with the city of Lacey, you understood what those trespass warnings were? Or had that the first time you'd heard of that, or?
I heard that city of Lacey, they trespass the homeless individuals that are living on city of Lacey property or behind businesses or Department of Transportation land.
Mhm.
And I know how they process the no trespass, and it's no longer a 72-hour notice. It was 24-hour the next day, so we could go in and clean up.
But so the trespass order that you got told you for the next year from February 21st?
Correct, which
Okay.
is do not come onto their property for up to 1 year.
Okay, all right. And so then, there's an allegation here going into April, text messages with the 15-year-old Cassandra.
That was
That come to be.
before the no trespassing slip. That was way before me getting terminated and trespassed from Amber Klein, Byron Scorpsman, and Megan Scorpsman's property.
So that was, I'm reading that wrong, that was alleged April. All right, April 21st of 2025. April 1st of 2025 is the allegation that you were contacting Natalie. And April 2nd through Instagram with Amber. All right. And so what do you have to say about that Roblox chat with Natalie on April 1st of 2025 after the order to stay away from the house?
I felt like I was still attached to the family, and I had a hard time processing that I got fired, and my friendship of 7 years and all the time and resources that I gave the family. I thought I could at least wish Natalie a happy birthday.
Okay.
And
So then, all right. And so then the next day, messaging Amber Klein, she said she received several Instagrams that she didn't respond to. Can you comment about that?
yes, Your Honor. With that, if I saw any cool stuff that I knew the kids would like or would enjoy, I would message them to Amber Klein, and I know she wouldn't respond. I just did it anyway and wished them, when it was the kid's birthday, I'd still send a happy birthday or happy New Year's, Easter.
Okay. So we understand from Amber Klein that she told you by text not to contact her. When do you recall the first time that happening, and what did you take that to mean?
That was back in April 23, Your Honor,
April of 2023?
or some time in 2023, Your Honor. That
Okay.
was when she reached out, and during that time I was, I obliged by it, Your Honor.
Okay. So you
And
didn't contact, so when, after that, so you say you obliged that request not to contact her April 2023. So then, there's allegations from August that you're showing up unannounced and refusing to leave, August of 2024.
that was initially what I was trying to get in, trying to tell Byron Scortsman the situation, because during that time, Your Honor, we were still somewhat friends. I was giving him space, but during our initial first contact after 3 months of no contact with Byron Scorchman, I have a hard time explaining in detail of what had happened. So I was constantly trying to reach out to Byron Scorchman of, hey, we need to link up or ask how the kids were doing. But he didn't allow me to explain in depth what had happened and see if our friendship could still work. Hence why I showed up at their house on August 24. I thought the kids were at their dad's. And I thought it was just the parents, Your Honor.
Okay.
But I found out through Byron messaging me that I scared the kids. I was quiet. I just knocked on the door and I was trying to explain my side of the story to Byron
And that was back
in
August.
August.
Okay, and then we see it again in February. You're still trying to explain.
Yes.
All right, and you're still,
Trying to get closure of who startled me awake on the couch when I was house sitting.
all right.
Or
Still looking through your information and the petitioner's information, to see if I have other questions to kind of help you get out what you're trying to say. So then February, so you're not getting in responses from Amber Klein about instant messaging. Previous to that, law enforcement tells you if you come back, we'll arrest you. Here's the
correct.
notice. And then over a period of 6 months, you're trying to get in touch with Byron at the house, and he's not responding to you. And all right, and then the messages to the kids that Amber Klein objects to, her children being contacted by you. Were there a time when did you hear from Amber Klein that you remember her telling her, don't contact my kids?
And that was when I initially showed up at their house at August.
Okay. All right. Did she tell you differently that you could have contact with anyone or all of the kids after that August event?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. And so then in April, there's a contact through Roblox with Natalie. Is that right? April 1st, around there? Okay. And then, all right. And why? Why did you do that after she told you not to?
I just wanted to wish her a happy birthday, and still I wanted to reach out, like not in a just say, hey, hope everything's doing well.
All right.
Because I haven't had contact with them since August or since they cut me off way back.
In 2023 sometime?
Correct.
Okay.
When Byron and I were still somewhat friends, Your Honor, and I gave them boundaries for about 3 months, and Byron informed me that maybe by February or March 2024, you could come by to the house and go to baseball games, be invited to birthday dinners again.
Okay.
But
that didn't
don't
go over well, because at that point in February, when you did go back,
that was when I was terminated from my position, Your Honor, with City of Lacey, and I wanted closure of what happened that night and to say I'm sorry and wish like I did it differently, Your Honor, and I would still try to be friends and still do nice things, even though they informed me to not.
all right. Anything else that you want to say? I sort of gave you a lot of questions to try and help you get information out that I had questions about. Anything else? You wrote a lot of information down. I read through all that information.
I have nothing else, Your Honor.
Okay, I have a question of you, Amber Klein. Byron, is he a parent biologically or by marriage to any of these kids?
Not those 5, but his other daughter does live with us full time, my stepdaughter.
Okay, but these 5 are yours and not his.
Yes.
Okay.
Technically, yes.
And you may be in a relationship that isn't marriage, but I'm just trying to find the legal boundaries here.
Yeah.
And he hasn't given any guardianship over these 5 kids. He hasn't been by a court,
No.
hasn't said he has any parental rights over these 5 kids. Okay, all right, gotcha. All right, well, Mr. Buddhahas, I am going to issue this order. And the reason being, I find that there's been unlawful harassment as it is defined under the law. Whether you like it or not, whether any of us like it or not, no matter that you may have a relationship in the past with minors, the parents get to decide, and the parents is the final word, and you don't get to try and talk them out of it. You do nice things to talk them out of it, do mean things to talk them out of it, use force to talk them out of it. You can't. The parent decides, and you have to abide by that. So no contact with these kids. And now a court order is saying, don't contact these kids. And Amber Klein as well. And now Amber Klein is asking for this order, and I would hope that then she would, and it sounds like she hasn't gone back on what she's asked quite some time ago, that you not contact her, not by Instagram, not by leaving gifts, not by coming by, in no way, shape, or form, not through others, not through family, friends, social media, in any way. You got to leave everybody alone. And you stay away from their house. And so I'm going to give you a copy of, you've got a copy of the temporary order. This is going to mirror that. All those 5 kids are included. So the danger is that you're arrested and charged with a crime if you contact, in violation of this order, Amber Klein or any of these 5 kids, and they're listed in the order. So I'm going to write up that order. I'm going to give you a copy. And Amber Klein, this is going to be in the court file. If you're comfortable using Zoom to go get it, feel free. If not, you can contact my clerks and they'll help you with that. If you left us an email, are we going to send an email? But we'll leave it to you to try and get it off of Zoom. Otherwise,
Yeah, I'll come to the courthouse because I need certified copies to give to the kids' schools.
Okay, that's a good idea. All right. So, and this will be in effect for the next year, April 28th, 2026. Now, if Amber Klein feels that she wants this order to go longer than April of 2026, if there's, and, you know, Amber Klein, the way you enforce this is you contact 911. And if at that point, if she believes that she needs this order to go longer, then we have another hearing. And so Amber Klein, you would need to contact the court. You could within 3 months of its expiration, so January 28th. Within from that forward, don't wait a couple of weeks beforehand, because then we wouldn't be able to set a hearing before it expires. But if this solves it is the hope. And but that is an opportunity for the petitioner to come back to the court and say that there should be a longer order. I'm going to fill this out, and as I said, I'll give you a copy, Mr. Buddhahas, and then you're on your way. Just 1 second, let me just review this, and I'll come back and ask people if they have questions, but review this. So, Amber Klein, do you have any questions?
Just about requesting the seal due to what was in that declaration.
It's not possible in this case, and so all of this has already become public record. You so it won't be sealed. Other than that, the order's issued as the temporary order looks.
Okay.
All right. And any questions, Mr. Buddhahas?
So will I be monitored, ankle monitored?
No,
I just need to stay away from them.
right. We'll give you
If
the
there
order.
are random encounters, how
If you're
would
both
that
at the
work?
grocery store, you walk into the grocery store and you see Amber Klein or you see one of the kids, you need to turn around and leave.
I will
Yeah.
ignore them and I
Yeah.
will continue shopping.
Well, I would suggest if they're there first, you leave.
Okay.
Yeah, just take yourself out of the situation and go somewhere else.
Yeah.
So, and if you receive contact from the kids, I would hope, you know, Amber Klein is able to advise them well, not to contact you independently, but there are a couple of that, you know, are teenagers, then you have to ignore that and not respond in any way.
Mhm.
All right, it may be best to, you know, so this is the order, copy of the order for you. You can come on up and grab that. And then any other questions?
If I purchase a ticket for a movie, a concert, or a game, am I gonna have to leave if it's a random encounter and we both show
You're
up?
not, yeah, you're not knowingly to contact any of the kids or Amber Klein.
Mhm.
And the threat is, if that's found that you did do that, then the threat is an arrest. So, yeah, your life is a bit limited when it comes to these folks now. So be careful about no intentional or knowing contact with them.
Thank you, Your Honor, and it's a 1 year
Yes, April 28th of next year.
is when it's.
It
out
should
of the-
expire, and if there's a request to extend it, then you'll be given notice and we'll have another hearing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
thank you.
all right. Thanks, Mr. Buddhahas. Thanks. Ms. Klein, then you can leave the meeting as well.
Okay, thank you.
Right. And here, do we have?